This is an extension of part 1, what to do with your breaker when you first get them home. So you can see that I've taken Tilly into the middle of the arena and have started the groundwork. Make sure that you have either groundwork or lunging skills so that you've got an option to work with your young horse when you're not confident enough to get on straight away. If you don't have this option and you're not confident, you may get on and it might go pear-shaped, and then you'll really want to get off and you won't have an alternative to go to. So before you get a breaker, go and brush up on your groundwork skills or brush up on your lunging skills. So you can see Tilly is being sent around on the small circle. Tilly's in a rope halter with a long rope attached, and I'm using the rope as an aid, and every time she looks to the outside of the circle, I'm giving her a flick of the rope. So she wants to look to the outside of the circle and drop her shoulder, but she's given me a couple of good circles there, so I let her come in. Now when they come in, firstly they will come in and stand about 3 metres away from you, maybe 2. So then you'll keep working them. After a few more stops, they'll come in and they'll stand right next to you, but they won't touch you. They might get within a centimetre of you, but they still won't touch you. Keep working them in this instance. Only once they stop and come in and touch you, and it can be the lightest touch, but they must touch you. That's when they're with you, and that's when they can get a pat. So I've turned Tilly round and she's going on the other rein. And now Tilly's come straight back from the breaker, and she hasn't had any gaps between the breaker riding her and me working her here. So she looks really calm and quiet, and this is the way a horse should be when it returns from the breaker. So she's giving us a few circles, and she's quite good on the bend, but she's a little straight as she goes through the shadow coming up here. She'll straighten up here, but she actually did that one quite nicely. But the energy, I've just asked her to up the energy a little bit. There's another ask, up the energy a little bit, just because otherwise she'll get a bit lazy, and you want to make sure they're still working. And you can see, watch the position of my arm. You can see my hand is down by my side. So I've stopped and let her come in. You can see that only there, she touched me there. And that's quite a firm touch. So she got pushed away, and I didn't hit her. I just put my hands up and flapped them about by her face, and that gets her reversing a bit and giving me my personal space. Because you certainly don't want your horse in your personal space, and you want to be really assertive about that. If the horse is in your personal space on the ground, they're not going to respect you anymore when you get in the saddle. Make sure your groundwork's up to scratch, and then you'll have a good ride. So Tilly's given me good energy there. Now she's being a bit of a mare, and she's got the grumpy face on every time I flick the rope. So I'm ignoring this. If it got worse, say she wanted to take a lunge, she would get a smack on the bum, and I would make her canter on that small circle. You want to make sure that your surface is good enough that the horse can do what it has to do. So there she's come in, but she's not touched me. She's a little bit offended. Still not touched me. So I walk, I move myself, and you can see she's really sharp. She stays right with me. And she's only about a centimetre or 2 away from me when I stop. You can see here, she's very, very close, and then she finally gave me a little touch. So she gets a pat. And you can see how dangly the rope is. So when I moved, I wasn't leading her, she was following me. And you only want the rope loose enough, but obviously not dragging on the ground so they can get tangled up in it. So always know where your rope is and how long it is. So I send her back out, change rein. And because this is her first session back with me, she's touched me twice, going each way. But I just want to really confirm that she's with me, that she will come in when I let her stop and touch me. And that shows me that she's really ready for me to get on, for me to saddle up and get on. And she's giving me some pretty good circles. She's a little bit straight through here, through this bit there. And there she gave me a sneeze, you'll notice. That's really what you're after. And so she gave me a sneeze and I've let her come in. And she's not touched me, so I moved. She followed me straight away. She wanted to have a look to the outside. So if your horse gets distracted, move quite promptly and they should stay with you. If they don't stay with you, that's a cue to do more work. And she looked away, so I moved and she came back to me. And I'm just backing her up there. Actually, I think I was asking her to move and she didn't want to. She wanted to go backwards instead of forwards. So I just repositioned myself and sent her on. Make sure that your body doesn't get in front of the horse's shoulder. If you get in front of the horse's shoulder, your horse will stop when you don't want it to. And at the same time, you don't want to get too close to the quarters. If they're dropping their shoulder in and really looking to the outside, their quarters are going to be getting too close to you. If they've got their head up, their tail up, they've dropped their shoulder in, then that's really not a good spot. I would bring them in closer and keep giving them the aid to say bend to the inside, look to the inside, do some work, don't let yourself get distracted. So Tilly's done a good few circles there and she's come in and given me a touch and she gets a pat straight away. So that last one was like clockwork. And that's what you want. And she's enjoying a good pat. And with most chestnuts, with most mares, rub rather than pat. If you pat them, it can be like a smack. And there she follows me off screen.